What's up, everybody, and welcome on back to another episode of the My Side of Things podcast. This is now episode 13. I'm your host, as always, Ash. Had to flip the room around a little bit, not around a little bit. Oh my goodness gracious, I almost had a stroke there. Goodness. Had to flip the room around a little bit, though. You know, I got the weights back over there. You can see them getting swole. Lean, mean fighting machine over here. Got the One Piece stuff in the background as well. You know, monkey de Luffy. But yeah. I don't know. But yeah, no, we got a few things in the docket to get to today. Not too much. We got to talk about Megan Bayne knowing her possible direction. Got to talk about the Young Bucks and the Death Riders. Found out exactly why the Young Bucks did what they did. Also got to talk about MJF trying to get back with his slimes. But, you know, the slime's not really trying to slime with him, man. Nobody want to be slimy these days. I got to go talk to Big Slime Bobby Lashley. Also got to talk about some Miss Roxanne Perez. And apparently now Giulia turning heel as well. I don't know why everybody turning heel. I don't know what's going on anymore, man. I might just mess around and turn heel. Or I might just mess around and say his name and he appears. I believe in. I'm doing way too many claps. But let's go ahead and start off with Miss Megan Bayne, shall we? Because she basically said she coming for every one of y'all. She said, hey, yo, Layla Gray, you with Top Flight. Sweetie, you keep walking on around here, you going to be taking a long flight. Sky Blue, you keep not being around here and then try to come back around here. You going to be sleeping in the sky soon. Tony Storm, you want to be old Miss Timeless. You going to be restless. Matter of fact, you going to be resting forever when I put you in the ground. She basically coming for everybody, man. She got a hit list and all that stuff. Everybody got a hit list, apparently, man. You got freaking Swerve Strickland over here saying he got a hit list too. My goodness, man. What is going on at AEW? Where are the GMs? Can we get some order around here, please? Everybody trying to kill everybody. Like, I am scared. But Megan Bayne basically just put the whole locker room on notice that she's coming after somebody, and I think a possible direction they could go with her, which is what I would really like. I would have her come out during each of these Owen Hart Cup tournament matches just to like let her presence be known, because obviously she's not in the tournament, which does suck in my opinion. I wish she could have been in it. Obviously, though, she was in an AEW Women's Championship match, so you're not going to have her there. But I would like for her to come out during these matches and make her presence be known. That way, when it comes down to the finals, let's say it's like Jamie Hayter versus Athena, which, by the way, she's going to come out for every single match. I wish she would have came out for Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa. Didn't do that, sadly, but she'd be coming out for every single match. And then, again, let's say that the finals is Athena and Jamie Hayter. This is where we have afterwards, let's say Jamie Hayter wins, Megan Bayne attacks Jamie Hayter. This sets up for a little feud with these two, but there's also going to be the thing of, obviously, Jamie Hayter can't really deal with Megan Bayne because she also has to look forward to her match with Tony Storm, and she doesn't really want to go in there, you know, unprepared, because she knows that Tony Storm is a really dang great competitor. So I could see a potential triple threat getting set up for All In, where you have Tony Storm, not Tony Storm, you have Megan Bayne being a D1 instigator along with Penelope Ford, causing Tony Storm to not be able to apologize to one Jamie Hayter, because I believe that if it's just these two, wouldn't Tony Storm just apologize and you have face versus face going into All In? Not bad, but I don't think they're going to want to be doing that. But if you have these two being a D1 instigator and not allowing Tony Storm to apologize, now what you have is a triangle beef. Obviously, you're going to have Megan Bayne and Jamie Hayter having beef because, you know, well, Megan Bayne attacked Jamie Hayter and then Jamie Hayter attacked her back. You have Tony Storm and Megan Bayne because they already have history. You have Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter because they have history. That's up for a really great All-In match where I could see potentially Jamie Hayter pinning Tony Storm, going into a then feud with the one Megan Bayne. I could even see the world where we go Megan Bayne, Tony Storm one more time. That way we can allow Jamie Hayter to at least have like a 1 month reign. Now we have like a rematch clause versus a woman that was never pinned. Get these two in a little feud. Have Megan Bayne go over Tony Storm, and then have Megan Bayne go after Jamie Hayter and eventually take the AEW World Championship off of her, because I don't think she needs to hold it that long unless you really want to run Megan Bayne, Tony Storm for like a few months, because they did have the one match. You could have Megan Bayne win one, and then you have Tony Storm win one again if you really want to do that. You could. I'm not mad at it. If you do have, let's say, Megan Bayne win the second one, or possibly even Tony Storm win the second one, you could always have one of them get into a match. I think you probably would have Tony Storm win one. No, because then she's won two, but to be fair, it's really whoever wins the last one. So if you have potentially Tony Storm win that let's just say Toni Storm wins that match. It's fine. Toni Storm wins that match. She gets her match with Jamie Hayter. Megan Bayne gets involved again because she's not going to allow Toni Storm to get that belt. She's basically going to be the hangman to Swerve to Toni Storm. And then they have a third match. That's where Megan Bayne goes over, but she goes so over to the fact that like she basically just injures Toni Storm and takes her out of action for a while. That way she's able to get the championship off of Jamie Hayter without having to worry about Toni Storm. And then eventually sometime down the line, we could easily run Toni Storm and Megan Bayne back if we want to. I think we could also have Athena get back into this if we really wanted to, by having, not get back into this, but have her get into this, because I think that she would lose to Mercedes Moné at All In, losing her Ring of Honor championship, bring her up to the main roster. Then we have Mercedes Moné doing her thing in Ring of Honor and AEW. And then we can eventually have Athena dethrone Megan Bayne if we really want to, because I think you want to use Athena as early as possible because of the fact that she is 36 now, turning 37 this year. I think she's not the biggest high flyer, but her finisher is a very athletic one. I don't know how long she'll be able to do that for, but then again, you got this guy Samoa Joe over here doing a running back elbow enziguri. So man, I don't know, maybe Athena could do this for like the next 4 or 5 years. I don't really know. I just think that you probably want to use Athena now while, you know, she's still probably in her prime, before she hits like her late 30s, and then she doesn't have some of this athleticism that she once had even in her middle 30s. But then again, this woman is doing all this in her middle 30s. Maybe she'll be fine going forward. I think that this is a possible direction, though, that you could go with Megan Bayne. I think they're going to do something like this. Probably not like the whole stalking thing, but I think that they're going to get Megan Bayne involved in this All In match, because there's no way that you're keeping Megan Bayne off of All In unless you're having a casino gauntlet. I wouldn't be mad at that, but I think you want the casino gauntlet for somebody else. Like, I would use that on a Willow Nightingale, a Chris Statlander, a Giulia Hart. I would have it on one of them that I feel like needs that a lot more than Megan Bayne does. I think Megan Bayne just needs to be in the world title scenes. These women, to be fair, they kind of do need to be in title scenes, but not the world title scenes. So you could easily have that casino gauntlet be for a TBS championship. Maybe Willow Nightingale wants to use it because, you know, she didn't get a proper run with it. Maybe Giulia Hart wants to use it because she just has so much beef with Mercedes Moné, or even Chris Statlander. Even Chris Statlander wants to use it on Mercedes Moné as well because she has so much beef with her, although Chris Statlander also has beef with Megan Bayne, but she got her butt whooped both times. So there is that. Speaking of some folks that about to get their butt whooped, though, MJF, man, I don't know what's going on with Big Slime. Bobby, if you watching this, my guy, what you doing, bro? Why you treating MJF like this, man? That's a good dude right there, you know? Folks keep saying that like MJF be turning his back on everybody, bro. Okay, look, he did it to Cody Rhodes. He apparently did it to some other guy named Ricky. I don't really know a Ricky in AEW, though. I checked the roster. I ain't find a Ricky. I could look again, though. I can look again, y'all. Don't worry about that. Let's see. Let's go to the AEW roster. Let's go to the men's. We can go to the R's. Let's see where we at. That is JKLMNOPQ. I see Ricochet. Oh, did MJF turn his back on Ricochet? I mean, we ain't never called Ricochet Ricky, though, so I don't know about that. I see RJ City, I see Rocky Romero, I see Roderick Strong, I see Rouge. I don't see another Ricky here, so let's turn this back on Ricochet, which wouldn't be a thing because Ricochet barely got here a few months ago, and MJF was never around Ricochet, unless like you turn this back on him in like real life, like maybe these guys went to like, you know, a bar or something like that, and MJF said, I'll pick up the tab, don't worry about that, and then he walked out, or like, not walked out, but like he snuck out and left Ricochet there. I don't know. Maybe Ricochet's supposed to be like his best man, something like that. I don't really know, man. I don't know. So yeah, I don't think MJF is that much of a backstabber, especially because he got betrayed by his best friend in Adam Cole. So I don't really know what Bobby's talking about, man. I think Bobby might have the wrong guy because the MJF I know, that's a great guy right there, man. He ain't never turned his back on nobody, all right? Well, no, let me say it again. He ain't never turned his back on nobody that didn't deserve it because, see, Cody Rhodes, what happened? I mean, from what I remember, Cody Rhodes left AEW, so maybe it was a good thing to turn on Cody Rhodes. Also, Cody Rhodes wasn't turning heel, so somebody had to turn heel. MJF did it. Was he really wrong, or was he doing what Cody Rhodes should have been doing? This stupid freaking ad started playing and all that stuff, and I was afraid I was going to play out loud. But, you know, MJF was just doing what Cody Rhodes wouldn't do. So, Yeah, and then come on, the inner circle. Come on, please. We don't even need to talk about this one, okay? We know what that one was. So yeah, no, I think Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, they kind of just being a little wonky right now, man. They gotta be cool with MJF, man. That's big slime right there, man. Come on, man. Y'all gotta leave my dog alone. But I do have a little question for y'all. What do y'all think is more likely? MVP betrays Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin for MJF, or MVP betrays MJF to still keep rocking with Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley? I could see the world where MVP says, you know what? I like these two guys, Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, but they are up there in age now, man. They a bit older now. MJF's only 27, 28 years old. I could see a scenario where MVP says, you know what, this is the younger guy. I don't got to wrestle with him. With you guys, I might have to wrestle and all that stuff. But with MJF, I can kind of just let him do his thing and all that. And he's, he's all about the triple beam, man. He's all about the top belt. You guys going at the tag belt still, it's nice, it's cute. But are you guys going to get to the world title picture? Are you guys conniving enough to get there? Or I could see it because obviously, MVP's been having a bit of issues with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin as of late. Not like super major issues by any means, but, he's been kind of getting onto them a lot because they have been playing with their food a lot in these matches. And then obviously the whole situation with MJF, I could see Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin start kind of treating MVP some type of way that would make him want to go align with MJF because MJF is still being cool with him. He still has a lot of respect for him. He wants to be with these guys. So I think it is a bit more likely that MVP would actually betray Bobby and Shelton to go align with MJF because right now it seems like AEW wants to do everything they can to keep MJF as a heel. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are loved by the crowd. I think you could easily turn them face, still run the whole we hurt people thing, and everything would be just fine. I don't think you're going to skip a beat with them. You're not going to, lose any kind of fan retention by turning them face. You can still have them be the exact same way too. They don't have to be like baby faces by any means. They can still go around and hurting people and all that and still, be loved by the crowd. And then you have MVP go with MJF. I don't really know where you go from there, I guess, is the only issue, because are you taking MJF to the world title scene? If he gets MVP, I feel like he kind of has to. It's like the same thing with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. I feel like if Seth Rollins becomes a Paul Heyman guy, you got to throw the World Heavyweight title back on Seth Rollins within like 2-3 months of Jey Uso's reign if, the World Heavyweight Championship does stay on Raw, or if Seth Rollins moves on over to SmackDown, one of the two. So it's like, I feel like you kind of have to. That's the only way. That's the only thing that makes me say maybe MVP would turn his back on MJF and say, I like you a lot, but hey, man, I've been with these guys forever, man. I can't go with you. And then that just causes some kind of mini feud between MVP and MJF. Or, well, it wouldn't be between them because I think the Hurt Syndicate would just destroy MJF. But then, do you, like that's my issue. Do you really want the Hurt Syndicate taking out MJF? I don't think you want to. Now, mind you, let me make this clear. I probably should have made this clear from the beginning. I think MJF eventually does join the Hurt Syndicate. I 1000% believe that he does. I think you're also going to have the likes of Cedric Alexander there as well. Heck, even possibly Kevin Knight if you really go down that angle. If you really go down that, not that angle. If you really go down that road, I would love to see a lot of these guys. I would love to see the Hurt Syndicate be a really big faction and not just a 3 with MVP. But I do think if a betrayal is going to happen before all these big moves start happening, before MJF ever even joins the Hurt Syndicate, I think I do like the option with MJF and MVP because goodness gracious, man, 2 cocky mofos together, it's going to be so amazing. But I think I also like MVP being with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. I think the only thing I don't really like about it is because they're so much older, that neither of them are probably going to get the world title. So it's like, are they bringing in somebody younger, or where are we going with this? Okay, I was really confused by something on my side real quick. I'm going to flip y'all around. So if you're on YouTube, you can see this. This dang Kawaki Funko Pop right here, I was really confused on this arm placement. It was so odd from my angle, because look, from my angle, see, it looks really weird. it looks really dang weird. Like, it looks like as if like his arm is just kind of like hanging out like an alien. I was so confused. I was like, what the heck is going on here? What are we doing? But it's like, it's just him, I guess, holding his arm. I don't know. It looks really weird. Like, nobody else is doing that over here at all. So yeah, no, it's just that one. It's like, it throws me off so much. I'm about to move that one now. It's just so weird. Then again, he kind of is technically an alien, if you want to be fair, because he does have Ishiki and all that stuff. Boruto's spoiler, I guess, but let me tell you right now, you ain't being spoiled on much. The manga sucks, okay? The anime is pretty damn good. That manga is hot dog water. I have to see Ida talking about some girly pop and twin and all that stuff, and I got this whatever the heck this dude's name is, I forgot bruh's name, talking about some for realsy, for reals, like oh my gosh, like bro, what dude, like bruh, what are we? Oh man, we have really messed up Naruto's legacy. Oh my god, Kubo, just please take as long as you need with this hell arc, man, because you're bringing in Ichigo's son and all that. Don't ruin Bleach, man. As you can see over here, I really love me some Bleach, man. Yeah, that is me and my girl's Funko Pops, by the way. She got that for Valentine's Day. But yeah, man, I really love me some Bleach. I got a lot more of Bleach. I don't know why I only have those two, though. I think I have the other ones, Ichigo and all them, in the back for some reason. I don't know why. I gotta rearrange this. I like rearrange my whole entire room because I didn't really like how it was like set up before. It was really bothering me, the whole me being stuck in the place, and I didn't really like how everything looked cluttered. Now the room looked a lot more clear and all that stuff. Everything looked like a lot more well organized. So yeah, but as far as MJF though and MVP, just to kind of get back to that for a second, I don't know how much I like MJF with the Hurt Syndicate. That's my only reasoning that would make me say that MJF would, MVP, so many freaking three-letter names here. My goodness, good thing we don't have the Young Bucks here. Oh my gosh. But that's my only thing that would make me say that MJF, I keep doing it, that MVP would betray MJF and not Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, because of the fact that I don't like MJF with the group. But as I was saying a second ago, because I just remember what I was saying now, with MVP, I had to say that a lot slower, the thing I don't like about him with the Hurt Syndicate is that you have two older dudes that probably aren't getting a world title soon. So where are we going with the Hurt Syndicate? Are you eventually bringing along Kevin Knight? Are you eventually bringing along Cedric Alexander? Or is the plan just for MJF to be the guy? I mean, Cedric Alexander said he wants to be in AEW. Well, he wants to be with the Hurt Syndicate. But is he going to the world title scene? Hey, man, I like Cedric Alexander. I think he good as hell, but I don't know if he that damn good now, man. If Ricochet couldn't get there, what makes me think that Cedric Alexander is going to get there? I don't really know if I like that. I don't think I like him being there. So the guy has to be MJF or it has to be Kevin Knight. But is Kevin Knight too soon for the world title scene? I kind of think so. But to be fair, Kevin Knight with a manager, obviously, his mic work is still, fairly green. He ain't the greatest on the mic. We got to hear this promo tonight, and yeah, kind of what I said, decent. But I think he has the ring work that you can make this guy a star with MVP. I would really love it. A younger dude with this group. All these guys are about in their 50s, or at least like about to hit 50. So I think, unless you're telling me that Kevin Knight's joining, I think that MVP would be more likely to betray Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, just because MJF is younger, more promising. He's already shown that he could be a world champion, and he could show, and he's shown that he has a very cynical side to him, and you don't even have to tell this guy, hey, man, come on, man, get into it. With Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, if it does feel like they do play with their food a bit. They're a bit more hesitant to really hurt people. With MJF, that is clearly not the thing at all, because this guy was already trying to burn alive Hangman Adam Page. So, yeah, no, he definitely will be as cynical as possible. But let's go ahead and jump into the biggest thing that happened in last night's Dynamite, because, man, we got it revealed. We got a reveal as to why the Young Bucks did what they did. We also did find out the Young Bucks and the Death Riders aren't connected, although I will say this. The Young Bucks revealed a lot, but I feel like there's still a whole lot more, that there is some big thing that we have not been told yet. It's going to happen within the coming weeks, and we're going to be like, whoa, wait, all of this is actually happening. I don't know when it's going to happen. I just know that I am going to be ready for it because first we had Jon Moxley, giving a promo. He was once again, I think, in a parking lot or someplace. I don't know where the heck Jon Moxley be at. I'm going to be real with you. This man just giving promos out in the cold, and I'm like, bruh, I mean, you had a sweater on at least, so I'll say that, but I know you're cold out there. My goodness, dude. But we had Jon Moxley, though, talking about how the Young Bucks, he doesn't really know what they're doing with this whole entire thing, and that, that they're trying to hop into a game that they don't really know their place in. He was still talking about a lot of the guys at AEW, saying that, the locker room is still not showing him much and that there's not really anybody that can step to the king and all this stuff. Just once again, regular schmegular Jon Moxley stuff, just absolutely killing it on the mic. Then we have a match between Jon Moxley and Katsuyori Shibata, which leads to not Katsuyori Shibata getting taken out, but the Young Bucks coming out after the match. Jon Moxley does look really, really pissed that they're out there. He doesn't get into it with them like he normally would. Instead, he just leaves the ring, him and Marina Shafir. I thought they were about to hit it with the EVP trigger. I ain't even going to lie to you. But then we had Jon Moxley still mad, and he was kind of like cussing them out when he was in the crowd, and the Young Bucks aren't saying anything to him. Obviously, then we would get into the big reveal where the Young Bucks say that we did this for Hangman. It wasn't because Swerve didn't join the MVPs. It wasn't even just because of the whole blood and guts thing. It was because of the fact that Hangman Adam Page, it's because of the fact that they did it for Hangman Adam Page, because they know that Hangman Adam Page in his heart of hearts does not want Swerve Strickland to win the AEW World Championship. And, I mean, they're not wrong. They're 100% right that even with Swerve Strickland admitting that he was wrong, it's probably never going to be a thing of like Hangman Adam Page is just happy for Swerve Strickland. He's never going to want this guy to win. It's obviously BS, though. Because the Young Bucks and Hangman, they ain't been seen together since 2020? I think not even 2021. I think that was 2020 when they eventually kicked him out of the group. It might have actually been 2019, to be honest. But they kicked him out of the group. Then obviously Hangman and Kenny Omega had a match at Full Gear where the Young Bucks did come out. They could have, got involved in the match. They decided not to. So you could look at that and you could say, maybe they're cool again, but we haven't seen them together since. So it's like, why would the Young Bucks, want to do this for Hangman? So obviously that wasn't the big thing. There's a whole lot more there. But that wasn't all they said, though. They said that, when it comes to the Death Riders, that them and the Death Riders have a lot in common. They want this roster to be the best roster, in wrestling. They want AEW to be the biggest thing in wrestling. And they think that if they were to align together, that they could make that happen. Pretty interesting, because the Young Bucks also admitted to how they tried last year to do what the Death Riders are doing, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't get the AEW World Championship. That right there, that was the most important part of this entire thing, by the way. A lot of people have been talking about this, and I feel like everybody's been skipping over that AEW World Championship is the key to running the entire company, because obviously, holding the AEW World Championship, you are the champion. But that was interesting that they pointed it out, because I believe obviously the Death Riders are going to turn down the Young Bucks. They're not probably going to side with them. I do think a blood and guts match will happen between the Young Bucks, the Death Riders. Oh, my bad. The Young Bucks or the Death Riders versus the Ops versus Swerve and maybe Hangman if Kenny Omega is able to get him on the right track, which I do believe that Kenny Omega is going to be the guy to get Swerve and Hangman together. He's probably going to use a lot of that. Oh, well, me and Will Ospreay, we never actually had any kind of conversation. We never talked things out, but we were still able to unite against a common enemy. And you two guys are two of the most dangerous guys on this roster. If you guys were to unite, nobody could stop you. And I think we're gonna get that tag match between Swerve and Hangman versus the Young Bucks. And I think we'll eventually get Swerve, Hangman, Kenny Omega versus the Young Bucks and Okada. But that my bad. I meant to say Swerve. My bad. I was talking about the blood and guts match. I think Swerve and Hangman. Well, wait, then it would be Swerve and Hangman with the Ops versus the Young Bucks and the Death Riders. So when would we even get that? Maybe we don't get that 6-man tag match. Maybe we don't. I don't know. But speaking about that championship, I think the Young Bucks have somebody. I don't think it's Jack Perry, even though I thought it'd be really funny for Jon Moxley to give him the dang championship. I think they have somebody. And I'm starting to wonder, Could that somebody be Jay White? Crazy, right? Because he's a part of Bullet Club Gold. Well, so were the Young Bucks, technically speaking. If I'm getting the names correctly, because I could be getting them wrong, weren't the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega also Bullet Club Gold? I think they were. I think it was like two different versions of Bullet Club Gold. So there's obviously, I mean, even if they weren't, there's still some connection between these guys with the whole New Japan thing. And obviously Jay White has a lot of issues with the Death Riders. And if the Young Bucks can't align with the Death Riders, they're probably going to have issues with them as well. But what happens to the Guns? What happens to Juice Robinson? Jay White could look at it as, you guys are never around. You guys ain't been here since 1942. I am out of here. I'm going with the Young Bucks, and I could actually see him aligning with the Elite. I feel like he would fit in with that, or not the, well, yeah, the Elite. I feel like he would fit in so well with that group, with the Young Bucks, with Kazuchika Okada, with Jack Perry, and he is their guy to go after the AEW World Championship. If it's not him, I could see it being Gabe Kidd or David Finlay. I don't know if AEW, well, I mean, I don't know if those guys even want to leave New Japan yet. I don't know if AEW's really been looking at David Finlay. Obviously, he is with Bullet Club. And he's been doing he's been doing a bit better. I will say that. I'm going to stop hating on this guy. He's actually doing a bit better. Obviously, Gabe Kidd is, Gabe Kidd. He is definitely somebody that if you're looking for anybody to go at Jon Moxley, he might be one of your first choices, if not your first choice. But I think Jay White is just as crazy. I think Jay White is somebody that if you need to go to war, you pick Jay White to be at your side, because that is the kind of guy that he just is. He is willing to do whatever it takes to get the win. And I could see the Young Bucks poaching Jay White from the Bang Bang Gang, or what? Wait, aren't they called the Bang 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 Gang? Whatever the dang name is, from the Bang Bang Gang, getting him on over to the Young Bucks, or getting him on over to the Elite, basically replacing Kenny Omega with him. Jay White is now going to go after Jon Moxley to try to get the AEW World Championship, and I could actually see Jay White getting the AEW World Championship from Jon Moxley. I don't think it would happen, though. I think they're probably going to run some kind of storyline where, because he did leave the group and all that stuff, he tried to leave them for a much better opportunity, basically by getting bought out, that it's just not going to work for him, and they're probably going to they're probably going to have, they could do that and then run Jay White, the Guns, Juice Robinson against the Young Bucks, Kazuchika Okada, and Jack Perry at some point in time. I don't know exactly when you would do it, but it would be Bullet Club versus the Elites. I would really, really like that. That would be so dang good. Oh, man, I'm making myself delusional again. I know it's not going to happen. I know it's not. Maybe there's a possibility that it could happen, though. I really, really would love the storyline. I just think that if you do this storyline, that probably means what happens is that you have Will Ospreay win the Owen Hart Cup tournament, and then you have him go against Jon Moxley. He loses to Jon Moxley because Jay White gets involved in that match. You potentially run Jay White versus Will Ospreay to take out Will Ospreay, and then you have Jay White go after Jon Moxley, but then he also still loses to Jon Moxley, and then we eventually run Darby Allin because he'd be back around September, which is when all this could really end. I would really, really like that storyline. It does mean that Will Ospreay is your first Owen Hart Cup tournament loser, but I think that if you protect him in a way that Jay White gets involved, it's not an issue at all. Will Ospreay is going to be just fine. I think that whenever you do finally put the AEW World Championship on him, this is actually going to help him by having so many guys stop him from accomplishing XYZ, that so much people are going to be even more desiring for Will Ospreay to get the AEW World Championship. And again, because he couldn't be in the Casino Gauntlet, because then obviously he's in an AEW World Championship match. Unless you don't have the AEW World Championship match be the main event, and then you have him go to to the Casino Gauntlet. But no, we're not doing that. That's stupid. No. You know what else is stupid? Oh, this awful booking of Roxanne Perez, man. Let's go ahead and get into this dang conversation. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this as clearly as possible, because I made a TikTok video on this. And my goodness, there was still like 4 or 5 people that just said the exact same things that I clearly did not say, but apparently folks just ain't cleaned their ears out enough. Stop using Q-tips. They're bad for your ears. Roxanne Perez on the main roster is a top 5 woman. She is, no, let's go even further. She's top 3. I think she's above a lot of y'all favorites. She's above Rhea. She's above Io, in my opinion. She's above Tiffany Stratton. She's clearly above Tiffany Stratton. That's actually not even up for debate. If you think Tiffany's above her, you need to stop looking at the way she dresses and start looking at the way she wrestles, all right? There's not a lot of women that are above Roxanne right now. I think it's for sure Bianca Belair, because I think she can do a lot of the same things that Roxanne can do, but she's just a tad bit better in the ring, I think. And then you have a few other women. Like, you can make arguments for a few other women. Like, if you want to make an argument for Io, you could. You want to make an argument for Nia Jax, you definitely could. If you want to make an argument for Rhea Ripley, you definitely could. I think Roxanne Perez is somewhere in that top 5, though, for sure. Roxanne Perez right now could be in the world title scene. You could have her win the Royal Rumble and go against Tiffany Stratton. You could have her replace Tiffany Stratton as the world champion and face Charlotte Flair for the world championship. You could have her be replacing either Rhea, Bianca, or Io and be in that dang woman's triple threat, or even make it into a fatal 4-way. She is that damn good. She is the future of the company. And the fact that WWE has, made her look good on the main roster with the Royal Rumble, she was the second to last finisher, the Elimination Chamber, she did her thing, but we're still not calling her up yet. We still have not called her up yet. I do not understand why she's not on the main roster, running a feud against Bayley, going Bayley, Lyra, Roxanne at WrestleMania. It feels like they're so invested into Lyra that they don't want to push Roxanne yet, because they don't want Roxanne to potentially take that. Well, obviously, no, they would have to have her take that spot from Lyra Valkyria, which then does basically nothing for Lyra Valkyria. She has nothing to do. So it's like, not gonna lie to you, I was so glad this dang cop car went by a heck of a loud. My throat was getting so dry to drink the rest of this water. But they obviously want Lyra to be a star. They've been pushing her like that. They've been having to do the whole King and Queen of the Ring thing, where she was like second, like she's the one of the finalists. You had her in Money in the Bank, almost dang win the dang thing. You had her be the inaugural IC Women's Champion, even though a lot of people wanted everybody else to win it but her. They are trying every single thing they can with her, and I do understand it, because Lyra obviously is an amazing wrestler. I just think she doesn't have those other things. But I've said too much about this already, about this whole entire conversation when it comes to Lyra Valkyria. Roxanne Perez, though, she should not have to be scrapping and clawing for a dang match to stand and deliver. This is sick. This is absolutely disgusting. Kalani Jordan is a face. This is a face role where a face does everything they can to get to stand and deliver. She should have been the one to get to stand and deliver in the way that Roxanne is, and Roxanne should have got there by beating Kalani Jordan. But that's not even my biggest gripe. My biggest gripe with Roxanne Perez right now from WWE is the character. We have changed the character up completely. And this is where I say everybody missed my point. Because when I made this video, everybody kept talking about all the other points I made in the video. But the main point, Roxanne Perez's character is now basically Liv Morgan 2.0. Rhea Ripley 2.0. She acts just like Liv. She gets these she cheats to win and stuff like that. She starts begging and saying that she deserves this and she deserves that, and that she's the best woman around here, and that everybody's scared of her, and yada, 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 doing all this stuff. When Roxanne Perez was at her best was when she was a heel that was akin to a Bakugo from My Hero Academia, a Yuno from Black Clover. The kind of heel that is super cocky but wants to do stuff just like the good characters would do. So if you're going to be winning, you got to win the right way, but still going to be cocky afterwards and say that you're the best and all this stuff, but she is going to big up the competition. I really loved it because this was an original heel that I had personally not seen WWE ever really do with one of their top stars. I've seen it from like a little bit of the mid-carders and stuff like that, but never from their top stars. The closest I could probably say is CM Punk on his Best of the World tour kind of thing, or Best of the World tour, on his Best of the World gimmick, where he was, really, really making it known that he was the best in the world and all that stuff, and not kind of like how he is now, where he just says it every blue moon and stuff. He was probably the closest, which makes a lot of sense as to why Roxanne would have that character, obviously, because she was trained by CM Punk. AJ Lee, kind of also really close, but not as close either, which makes a lot of sense because AJ Lee was trained by CM Punk. But it's like, I don't know why we went away from that character that made her so much more original, that made her stand out, to now basically making her, get cheap wins and be Liv and Rhea 2.0, when Clearly, Rhea is falling. Rhea is not looking as good. And you could say it's the IWC. It's the IWC. They're not like the real fans. The only difference between the IWC and the real fans is that the real fans are paying money because the real fans are the IWC. I hate when people say the IWC, even though I do say it sometimes as well, because my bad. I hate when people differentiate the IWC from the real fans because they're the exact same person. All it is real fans are fake in person, like your freaking friends that don't actually like you. They talk shit behind your back, but to your face, they're like, hey, twin, hey, bestie, dang, you looking real cool today. I like the style, all that stuff, yada, yada. But then behind your back, they're talking all kind of mess about how you can't dress, about how your makeup look trash, about how your hair look trash, about how your life is trash, about how you're a depressed loser and all that stuff. Goodness gracious, why'd I start going in on somebody that's I'm not even going in on? But, like, that's all the real fans are. They're fake as hell. John Cena said the exact same dang thing. The IWC are the ones that are going to keep it actually real with you when they talk about these kind of, when they give these kind of takes. So it's like when people try to say that, like, Rhea's not falling off and all that stuff and she's still selling the top merch and all that. She's the only woman that really got merch. Go look on the merch store. It's like 3 women. It's Rhea, it's Bianca, and it's Liv. And that's really it. You got like 1 or 2 EO shirts there. You don't really got much other folks' merch. So yes, of course Rhea Ripley's going to be the #1 merch seller for the women. It makes a lot of sense, especially when all of Europe and everybody else now is booing Bianca Belair for no dang reason. And Liv Morgan gets booed 24/7 as well. And like, come on. Who else has actually good merch? None of them really do. I mean, the EST merch is cool. I'm probably never going to wear it, though, to be honest. It don't really look the greatest in the world. And I'm going to be real with you, neither does Rhea's, but at least the color scheme looks really good. But with Rhea not being the same Rhea she once was that everybody really, really loved, and Liv Morgan kind of just being there and doing whatever right now, why would you want to take your up-and-coming superstar, your up-and-coming face of the company, and turn them into one of these two? Is this the formula that we're going to have going forward? And even worse, let's get back onto some NXT stuff with her. Why has she lost damn near every single match? No, why has she lost every single match since her, what was that? When did she take that first loss? She took it after Kalani Jordan, Giulia versus Cora Jade, and Roxanne Perez. Every time after that, she has taken the pin. And not just the loss, the pin. Her last legitimate win was against Jada Parker. The one against Giulia, the first one, Cora Jade got involved. And then the one against Kalani Jordan, Giulia and Roxanne were fighting all the way to the backstage, and Cora Jade got the pin. So I'm not even really going to count either of those two. So since No Mercy of last year, which is around like August, September, why have we had nothing but losing streaks going into the main roster? You can say that, oh, well, it's just NXT, but this doesn't happen to anybody else. There's not one other wrestler that you can name that had superstar potential, that was getting talked about as the next big thing, that came up to the main roster and came up to the main roster after being on a multi-match losing streak of like 4 or 5 matches on NXT. Wasn't Seth Rollins, wasn't Paige, wasn't Sasha Banks, wasn't Charlotte Flair, wasn't Bayley, wasn't Bianca, wasn't Rhea, wasn't Io, wasn't any of these other women, wasn't Kevin Owens, wasn't not Andrade, I was gonna say someone else, Adam Cole, wasn't, who am I thinking of, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, nobody. Only Roxanne Perez is the only woman, the only wrestler who had superstar potential that has more than a 3-match losing streak. Nobody else got that. How can somebody tell me as a Roxanne Perez fan that I should just be okay? You're changing her character and you have her coming up to the main roster with multiple L's in a row. How can you say that, oh, well, just calm down, trust the process, everything gonna be all right? Look at the Philadelphia Sixers fans, man. They've been trusting the process for the past 10 years. Where did that get them to? But nothing but a bunch of first-round exits, and Joel Embiid always hurt every single dang year. Clearly trusting the process ain't gonna work, and not to mention the fact that every one of their rookies gets injured. Hope my guy Jared McCain gets, he's able to come back next year and ball out like the way he was balling out this year. But my goodness, man, I can't trust the process. I cannot, especially when I have so many people saying, is she going to become the next Zelina Vega? A woman that is super talented in the ring, super talented on the mic, super talented with the charisma, I mean, obviously, Zelina's character work, it's in question, but Roxanne Perez has all the same things that Zelina Vega has. She has obviously better character work, but she also has the height issue. Is it possible that Roxanne Perez becomes nothing more than another Zelina Vega, a woman that should be on top, that should be a multi-time champion, but isn't because they don't fit the believability factor or they're just too dang short? Obviously, we've seen Alexa Bliss got over. I think with Alexa Bliss, though, the reason why she was able to get over is because her mic work was just so damn good. Like, Zelina Vega's mic work is really good as well, but it's nowhere near Alexa Bliss's. Roxanne Perez's definitely is. So maybe she could get over. I just don't like what WWE is doing with her. It feels like you're just wasting her away. But let's go ahead and talk about this last topic of the day, shall we? Which is the Giulia heel turn, or is it? Because I don't think Giulia the heel here, man. I know we've been looking at a lot of stuff on the surface, man. Giulia came out, headbutt, Northern Lights suplex. She got to be the heel. But what if she had a reason for doing what she did? Because I want you to go look back to that. I'm going to show the like the screenshots on YouTube. So if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you might want to hop over there or just go look at the video and stuff like that. Giulia, she goes into the ring and she's going in there after Stephanie, it almost looks like, for a second, but then she starts helping her out. But then what happens though? She bumps into Stephanie, notices who it is, and she's like, oh, okay, never mind, that's Stephanie, it's cool, it's not Jada Parker, it's not Jordynne Grace. But what does Stephanie keep doing? Stephanie keeps staring right at Giulia, and then Giulia turns around eventually, and Stephanie has this almost like sadistic look on her face. She looks very, very scary right here. And then that's when Giulia hits her with a Northern Lights suplex. She hits her with a headbutt and then with a Northern Lights suplex. What I'm starting to think happened is that one of two things. Either A, Stephanie, because remember how the whole report came out that Giulia was apparently injured? I even said that as well, and that's why she was in the championship match. Oh, no, my bad. That's why she lost that championship match to Stephanie. That's why they rushed it so quickly. What if one of two things? A, Stephanie was pushing Giulia to have this match even though she knew that Giulia was injured, or B, Ava Moreno was pushing Giulia to have this match even though she knew Giulia was injured, because obviously they had the match set up and all that stuff. It's interesting because that would explain why Ava had Stephanie drop the North American title. Because check it, I said this a few weeks ago. It didn't really make much, or a few episodes ago, not a few weeks ago, my bad. I'm thinking of like weeks as in like the NXT and wrestling weeks and all that stuff. I said this a few episodes ago that it didn't really make much sense for Stephanie to drop the title, seeing as there were like 3 weeks in between that time and Stand and Deliver. So clearly she wasn't going to be having any matches because they were going to eventually put together this whole ladder match and all that. Stephanie could have easily been in that match. Obviously she doesn't have to compete in like a qualifying match. She is the NXT North American Women's Champion. So she's the one that's going to be getting, it's going to be her belt that's put on the line. So she wouldn't have to compete in the match, meaning that, she's not having to compete against any of the women in the NXT North American division. Now, the NXT Women's division, that has Jada Parker and Jordynne Grace kind of going at it right now. So who is she really going to be fighting? She's been rested this entire past week, and she ain't done nothing this week either. So, yeah, not really doing much. What was she going to be so tired for? Well, what if it was because, let's go with the Ava Moreno angle for a second. What if it was because Ava handpicked Stephanie to be her champion? What if Giulia started catching on to what happened in this whole entire sequence right here? That's why Stephanie had like this real sadistic look on her face, because she realized it wasn't just Ava that was maybe cool with it. It was also Stephanie. Or what if we combine A and B together and Stephanie was pushing Giulia to have this match? Ava was also pushing Giulia to have this match, but Giulia didn't know that Stephanie and Ava were actually working together the entire time. And now Stephanie is the actual heel. Giulia realizes what's going on here. Headbutt, Northern Lights suplex. I think that could be the angle they're going with, because Think about it like this. If Giulia is the heel in this whole entire situation, she has to win at Stand and Deliver, right? You cannot have her turn heel and then she loses, because then what does she have to do? She goes on a chase story. That is a face story, very similar to how I said with Roxanne Perez. You don't put Roxanne Perez into this situation because of the fact that this is for the faces. This is not for the heels. The story doesn't really work that well. But if you have Giulia being this match and it gets confirmed that Giulia is the face and Stephanie is the heel, then you have you have Stephanie pin, let's say, I don't know, Jada Parker, Jordan Grace, whichever one you want to get pinned. Then you have Giulia face, which between the two, I would say you might want to go with Jordan Grace going against Giulia, because I think they have a really good feud. Although obviously Jada Parker does have a lot of fiery emotions that can make a feud between her and Giulia for the number one contendership to eventually face Stephanie at wherever the heck they face her at. I think that would also be really good as well. So I don't really care who she faces, to be honest. But Giulia's going to beat that person. Then she goes on to face Stephanie Valkyra, let's say like Heat Wave, or what's that other one? There's Spring Breaking as well, but she probably won't face her there to beat her there. There is the Great American Bash as well. I'm trying to think of like that other one, though. There's Heat Wave, and then there's another big one right before No Mercy, or maybe it's like right after No Mercy. I can't remember exactly which one. Oh, it's a Battleground, I think. Is it Battleground? Let's say Heat Wave. Screw it. Let's say Heat Wave. Let's say she just faces her at Heat Wave, and then that's where Giulia gets her redemption at, because now Giulia is getting super over with the crowd, because now they're really rooting for her. Now they found out what Stephanie did. Ew, bad person, evil. Giulia, good person. We're going to be rooting for her. Also, is it not interesting that, Giulia has blue hair now. Stephanie's always rocking the red. If you ever watched Death Note, L was the good guy, Light was the bad guy. L had the blue, Light Yagami had the red. Usually in these kind of like stories, the character, or not a story, but like these kind of like fantasy things, the characters with blue would be the good guys. The characters with red would be the bad guys. Your enemy usually has red, your allies usually have blue, so it kind of, was a bit interesting that Giulia was rocking the blue. That was a big change from what she had before. I think that Giulia is the face in this entire thing, and it's going to get revealed either this coming Tuesday, possibly this coming Tuesday, that Stephanie Valkyra actually is the heel in this entire situation. I don't believe that it's Giulia, because it's kind of the same thing with John Cena. No, actually, it's kind of the same thing with John Cena, because you can't really have John Cena turn heel and then he loses, right? It wouldn't be like the same arguments we make for John Cena. We got to make the same thing for Giulia. Same thing we make for Giulia, we got to make for Naomi as well. The heels can't lose. But if Stephanie is the heel, she's not going to lose. Makes a lot of sense. Also, we don't want Stephanie to, we don't want Giulia to turn heel, then beat either Jada Parker or Jordan Grace, because they probably won't have her pin Stephanie, but you don't want her to, beat one of those two and then become the NXT Women's Champion again. You don't want to keep flip-flopping this dang title line. We're not in the Attitude Era where there was like 41 title changes within 1 year. You don't really want that. Also, it would make a lot of sense as to why Giulia seemed a bit, weaker in the match against Stephanie. She wasn't moving the way she was moving in other matches against Roxanne, against Cora, or the 8-women's tag match. She looked a lot slower. She looked like she was injured. So if Stephanie knew this, Stephanie might have, done some funny business. Yeah, no, I think that Giulia is the face in this entire situation. I do not think that Stephanie is the heel by any means. My bad. I do not think Giulia is the heel by any means. I definitely think Stephanie is the heel. And again, the devil horns, all that stuff, demonia, you are evil. But let's go ahead and actually let me say real quickly, y'all let me know down below, do y'all think that Giulia is the heel? Do you think Stephanie is the heel? That's going to be the poll as well. So if you're on Spotify, there's a poll section right there. You go ahead and answer that. But for now, though, y'all, that's going to be it from me. I definitely hope y'all did enjoy this episode. If you're listening to us on YouTube, the liking, the subscribing. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the liking, the rating, wherever you're listening to it at, make sure you do share with all your friends that do like wrestling so we can get more folks to be checking out this page and all that good stuff. But for now, y'all, that's it. I'm out. Peace. Have a great day, everybody. Bye. And good night. That might be trademarked, so we won't say it anymore. Boom. Pew pew. Hey man. It's like US Bank and Bank of America. Basically the same thing, but as long as I say a different word, can't get sued. Aha. Y'all have a great one, man. Peace out, y'all.